配信よ。
始めたたかにゃん。
うん、もう始めたよ。ちょっと待って、マイクが変な位置向いてる。いい場所取り行くぞ、じゃあ。
たかにゃん、やっぱ60早いじゃん。FPS 早いと反応も早いやろ。
今パッドだよ。
俺だってまだ始まってないの。まだ
だから俺 SSD だって。うるさ。
そういいの。なんか小さく入ってんのよ。
ララララララ。はい、これが SSD。マイク抜いたり抜かんかったりしよるけ、うるさいよ多分。
ごめん。これかっこよくない？この銅像。レッドナイト。なんこれピンクマン。
レッドナイトかっこいい。
これ初期スキン？なんこれ初期スキンある昔の。
そのスキン今って見えない。ぽいね。なんとかジョンジ、バンカージョンジだと思う。DJ。そう。JK 読んだ。待って、グラップラー取り行こう。FNCS 見に。お前らもうパンパンだろ、気持ち悪いな。パンパンになった。よし、行こうか。
すげえ、ボトルパスやん。かっけえ。
行こう。
なんこれパーティーロイヤルへ招待する。
行こう。
ここ登ってみたかったっつうのよ、俺に。
嘘。でもわかるわ。
なんかさ、こういうの見ると。
向こう行こう、向こう。
これ、毎シーズン8ぐらいさ、違う、シーズン9の時さ、あそこにあったよね。プレパの近くに落ちしょったよね。
俺まだ鼻息入ってない。
俺
わ
からん。配信入っちゃったの。こっちはそんな聞こ
え。向こう行ってみよう。多分あるから。行くぞ。出てこい。お前グラップラー無駄に使う方がいいで、いい席取るんだから。
大丈夫。
そこ行こう、そこ。俺は無駄には使わないぜ。ちょっと待ってよ。なんかまた俺ヘッドホンが曲がってる。イヤホン部分が俺自由自在に動くやつだからさ。あれどこであれされる？そこだ。始まってる。
外国の試合？ワールドカップ？
FNCS っつってんじゃん。
Common AR is not going to net you a lot of elimination. There's going to have to find a way to upgrade that, whether that be through impact elimination or finding one naturally. As it seems like this is the open side of zone, and that meaning there's not that many people all around him. He's got a little space to work with there. Someone who doesn't have that much space is there's a lot of players nearby.
待って、山が一番いいってかもこっち来て。山をグラップラーで行くぞ。ここいい。ちょっと見づらいな。もうちょいこっちが行くか。
もちろん。グラップラーじゃなくて、グラップラーじゃない。あれがよかった。
脇が邪魔だな。
ジップライン。
ここある。ここいいんじゃね？案外いいと思う、俺んとこ。来て、こっち。
こことか良さそうじゃん、こっち。
そうだね。
そこ。 向こう。
真正面の。
あ、これ石がちゃうの。この石の上はすごいよくない？
ああ、いやでも2人、あ、ここいい、ここいい。来てくれ、俺のとこ。
いや、マジここいい、マジここいい。マジでいける。マジでここいい。登れたらマジかね。
オッケー。
And you can tell
Oh,
he's
ini.
not
Kami jangan
happy
koko.
with it. He's already
Iya.
looking to move into
Nomor
zone
85.
and set up for
Storm
another
Surgeで
couple tags because he's going to need it.
この
The
人が
52
これ
above just turned to
これ
60
本当
above,
今
and it's
今
going to turn to
ある程度
52
や
above.
多分
You're gonna start
FNCS 今やってる
down
と
that leaderboard as everybody near you looks to get eliminations, but Bad Sniper maybe looking to set up an ambush
Oh.
here onto Keswick. Will be
近くいるね
nearby Sky there as well as a
日
sniper
本の
shot
代
is
表
going
内
to
大丈
range
夫かな
there. Not
出てる
actually
か
going
な
to connect
リズ
onto
君とか
anybody, but
わかんない。
来んの
looking
来ん
to
の
be aggressive on his
Umai.
tags. It is above Storm Surge, but not by much as we see Lechi take
俺らこれ見て勉強しないけん。
limit there. Snipe though has a very
編集
good
早く
position
ね
in zone. He can rotate to his right or his northeast
な
there
んか
to
登って
really
きたチキンキ
take
モ
a
こい
play
つ。
on that side of zone as shots are going to come through. He heard that
何
sniper
登
shot
る
come through. That player got tagged up
う
by
まいうまいうまい
everybody.
ナイス。
Arion is going to
え、今
fall
よ。
down.
落とされたんだけども。キモ。
やめてほしいんだけど。
何お前ほんとマジキモ。俺らの敵わかる？あ、マジでマジで。お前の最適とかもいいから。来るんだ。
まあ見とこうぜ。
来るんだってば。
まあ見とこうぜ。
どっか行ってお前。
よし、向こう向いてく向こう向いてく。
お、クラッシュパッド。強っ。
うまい。F1 じゃねえ。うまいこいつ。こいつうまい。
俺チャージショットガン使おうっていうね、大会。練習ついてるか。
ああ、削れた。こいつうめえ。
Also under pressure here. He was the player who had the brilliant crash pad play yesterday. Can he set up another one here and end up converting as now we're going to swing on over to Anas, get a nice little replay, see what's going on here. Chaining the crash pads, landing directly on top of the player and catching him over on the side. Spin, what are you doing? Cover your back, man. You can't be doing that on the edge of the zone. But Anas pushing himself further out towards the lead. Don't forget he was in first place with 28 points, now sitting on 30.
ね、飛んで飛んで飛んで飛んで飛んで。ね、見てわ。
ちょっと俺が横にやろうか。
Very great play from Anas to realize that he was being ambushed here as well. Very quickly got out of the situation. Now Andy looking to be aggressive and looking to push. Shots are still coming through. Anas continues his dominant solo performance. He plays 60 for the solos ever since Invitational and nice in DreamHack. And he's recently been turning online, you know, in these last couple of months. It's been really great to see him come into someone who could become a legend just after being picked up by that organization. With this disengage, though, it gets him a lot. He's able to refarm some of these.
この辺来れる、この辺この辺。
Refarm Benji picking up an elimination is good for him. Oh, he was in a good spot. Now he's getting pinned by the player.
ここいい、ここいい、ここいい、ここいい。
And I believe he also had a pretty solid performance at DreamHack Anaheim, flying out to that land, making it to the grand final there, but now hopping on board. Another player who was there, Bad Sniper though, under pressure from Atlantis is Lechi. Trying to get in the box, Bad Sniper disengaging, does have plenty of shields and floppers if he can make the space, however, now in the zone, and that's a 2-tick zone. As soon as it passes over and it closes, it's going to go to a 5-tick zone. So Bad Sniper is going to have pressure here.
あ、こんばんは、いらっしゃい。
And
あ、うまい。うまい。こいつうまい、多分。うまい。
He has as much heals as that, and going to be on is there. Yep. No additional white heals coming out. So the siphon really beneficial for Bad Sniper there, and he has a relatively clear path to the zone now.
こんばんは、いらっしゃい。
On that bottom right-hand corner, only 1 or 2 players who are going to be in his way.
こいつめ。
And that's always unfortunate. Getting eliminated in zone as you're just trying to rotate through. As Anas is the same. He's got white heels, but it's only in bandages. He is popping them this time, but he's got to be careful. This elimination will net him so much.
何やってるんですか？
今 FNCS パーティーロワイヤルでね FNCS やってんの。
The zone once it closes, like you said, 5-tick, and now it goes down. Shots are going through.
あ、やばい、危ない。それた。
And he's got that flopper. He's going to be able to live Anas here unless Anas makes a play, but no.
うまい、今の。それはうまいわ。
And that's number 1 out of the game.
Anas being taken out there, the pressure from the storm, the 5-tick zone, Andy eating all the cabbages, knows exactly where they went, directly into his stomach there, also has the floppers and the bandages as well. I'm actually going to argue that he should have used the bandages there and allowed the cabbages to tick himself over the top, but instead going to pop that flopper and limit some of his mid-game and later game options for safety as now swing on board. Relatively solid performance was in 9th coming into this game. 18 points. For the end game, however, a long rotation he's going to have to make here, Clyde.
これ普通に少し支援下げるぐらいがちょうどいい。ちょうど自分の好きな距離。
We did see scram ball. He's just gonna hop in and be PCH. Was not expecting to have to reset those walls. You cannot afford to make those mistakes right now.
This is grand finals in Europe, the most played in region, arguably the most aggressive and most talented as well. If you are able to convert on elimination, please do everything possible and make sure you're safe. It's all about covering yourself up afterward and allowing yourself to be in a position to continue on in the game. And Reason is so good at capitalizing on others' mistakes. Now notice, built up on the high ground, use those hard materials to make sure he's established and safe.
4人いるここにやばくね
Trying to encroach a little bit on this real estate, and that's the fights you're going to see. Reason opting to drop down and just return to his safety as everyone else is going to rotate into the zone number 4. So
こういう敵がおるところ突っつってさ、一番下こもっちったらさ、結構バレんよね。
バレんね
Who is slaying out on that low ground?
これ日本人
Easy
じゃ
able
な
to
いのか
make
な
it here. Another player able to make it into this end game is going to be
CR とか出
Savage.
てそうじゃな
And
い
with that off spawn elimination on the
ボ
Noah
ルトと
Riley,
か
I'm
CR じゃないけど
assuming
出て
that
そうじゃない
elimination there. Noah Riley went down early.
どうなんだろう
Gotta
ね
be Mr. Savage taking him down, but
出てたら出て
血
たら
が出てそう
that is coming through.
い
Nice
や
and
まあ確かにリズチ
picked
は
up
出
there
て
by
そう
Savage, but someone trying to capitalize on him.
Lizuchi
What's gonna do? He's gonna pick up a double.
Umai.
Easy gonna go down.
Umai.
Easy gonna go down.
Umai.
Pressure's not done yet. The
う
crash
まっ
pad's
こ
coming
い
in.
つこの
The crash
100T
pad
ってい
master,
うやつ
Mr.
だな
Savage, gonna be able
な
to
んて読む
fix
か
him
分から
up
ん
there.
けど
前に
And he's ready to fight. He's ready to go aggressive, but someone on top of him gonna be bad sniper there, trying to box, trying to box the box. Seti there as well.
ルリティ
Savage
オンか
really
って
needs to
今
make a play to get out of this. Going up into an old
多分
build.
英語
We'll
放
get
送
him
だ
out
から
for
ルリ
now.
ル
And
リ
what
ってい
a
うのかな
phenomenal heads up play. That's what you do when you get elimination. You realize there's more players nearby you, and you take them out as
あたた
well.
た
Nick Squeezy picking up an elim there. I believe that was on the Keelix, but we have our top 50. So Storm Surge turning back off, second place going over. And don't forget, this is game number 3. So we're about to be at the midway point. This is a fantastic opportunity with a nos down for somebody else to unseat him and become that.
俺さADS 絞るボタンあるじゃん
whether or not you can hang on, or whether
あそこに100円玉突っ込んでずっと ADS 絞るようにして
momentum, finding a key elim there on the backside of the zone.
あ、かわいいこの自分で作るやつ
Half in, half out. Now closing in. After this, it will be all moving.
こいつうまいね
zones, so
こ
it's
の
all about
このスキン
making
多
sure
分
you're
多分うまい
safe,
と思う
finding rotations, figuring out whether or not you're able to get to that next zone, and then trying to punish players
聞いてる
around you who aren't doing it
う
as
ん
good.
聞いてる
Lewick looking to capitalize on
Zero
someone not
kill
paying
call.
attention to their wall. You see, inside the cone, just sitting there
い
waiting.
やだけどあ
Good
り
crash
の
pattern. We've seen it before. We saw it go against Benji. There's Hen. He's gonna fall as well. Hen goes down. What a big elimination
そう
there.
だけど順位ポイン
Another
トがい
player
るか
near
ら
the
な
top of the leaderboard going down. Staffing falling
あ
as
りえ
well.
たら
Lewick
結
is
構
dropping down
祈
though.
る
He
そ
knows
の
there's
敵
players
来
fighting
た
below
ら
him.
戦う
And
け
he
ど
wants a
さ
piece of the action because
こ
he's
こ
only
が
got
彼に
53 builds. He definitely needs to find something. His ammo
ちょっとやっぱラ
lacking
グ
as
いね
well. 5 shots with that
ここで
charge
見るもん
shotgun.
じゃないか
He's
ら
going to go through in an instant in this endgame.
まあ見れるだけいいでしょ
Up in elimination. He also does not have priority on rotation as it's pulling away from him. Or crash pads in his inventory will allow him to rotate, but not as effectively some of these other players. And he set this trap. He's waiting for this player to just make a wrong edit and go out, but I doubt that they're going to fall for
こ
it.
こに敵おるじゃんで邪魔画
He's
面に
waiting.
打
He
つ
does
の
have priority on the zone. There's a player right next to his box. I wasn't sure if that player was on the cone. He finds the 83 tag and then falls
Umai.
out right away.
Umai.
ADN going down in 41st,
Umai
misses the placement point. So a huge
Crush pop
pick
though.
going right there. Mr. Savage still in the lobby as well. We're into the moving circles. That's the late game.
残り何人
We're
だ
going to start seeing players burning utility,
Yeah,
using
come on.
all their builds, just trying to get to that next safe zone and
Well, me
avoid
too,
fire
no.
from their opponents. But you also have to watch out
世界
for
ほ
those
とんど
sharks
一
and
人
those
の
aggressive players,
キ
the
ャンパで
playmakers,
5 人
and
ぐ
the
らい
ones
飛
who
ぶや
are
ん
going to be the one driving the
50
action.
それ
37
飛ぶ
Here,
な
the dual media
37
site currently below the threshold for the storm surge, but that should turn off
きついな、
shortly here.
37
Only 7 players need to
ナイ
fall.
ス。
Media Snipe will add into it right now, pushing himself
投
above
げ
by
けどこの人
taking
2人やってる
out
2人
Rift and potentially finding a nice little upgrade there in terms of his. Yep,
2人やってるのはうまくね。
we'll get the
おお、すごい。
legendary shotgun in there as well. And we're closing in on top 30 as 7 Tor picks up Nate.
視点が綺麗だよね。こういう人っ
With
て。
Snipe's inventory, he has 7 crash pads. This is what you
Yeah.
want in this meta. You want to have as
Oh,
many
nice.
crash pads as you can as
More.
that sniper is going to be caught trying to take a shield. Mongo's in this
下の
game.
違いが
Aziz
わ
is
か
in
る
this
ね。
game. Ledwick is in this game as well. We have yet to see Savage go down. Flow is in this game here. Rifla as well. 2 eliminations, 79 builds. We'll see if he's going to be able to get any more.
Deceptos is also still up. We saw him there on the wide. That was the player who was in third. He should be able to push up as the every 5 players play some point. Reason gets taken over by Fishy. Orange takes out Cartoon. 7 Tor gets Sebi closing in on top 20. That's another point going over. As now Rifla looking to add his name to that list of become legends players pushing their way up the leaderboard. But Deceptos picks up Wanloss and Savage picks up Z Andy. So still a who's who of top players left, but that's everyone in the lobby. Thomas gets another one. Mongrel picks up Elo and Rifla ends Mr. X's run. Skype also getting orange. 2 more players will need to drop before we close in on that top 10 as 7 Tor also gets Mongo. But the question is, who's on the high ground and is there caddy loot? And right as I say that, Thomas HD with that mythic shockwave launcher. Can we make it? 3 out of 3. Rifle go. Bottom right corner of your screen. Dual media snipe. Top right hand. 5 kills for snipe. 3 for Rifle. Thomas on the high ground. Wide on the left.
半分の
And
半分の
Thomas using it so well, but Rifle is
このオーラう
doing
まい。オーラ
just
見て
as
てもいい。
well as he's being
あ、
aggressive there
クリス
on
マ
the
スを
players
多
who
分キル
leave.
するよ。
That's going to be a
ナイス。
squeeze in the box as he is going to get the elimination there. Thomas may have
Ola
the
da
high
Thomas.
ground right now, but
Kill.
Rifle is putting on a show.
わかる。
Snipe as well, 5 eliminations.
Nice
Like, we're going to get taken down there by Vadil. Going to take
Oh.
down another one as they're going up the mountain. He's reloading that shotgun.
クラッシュパ
He's
ッ
going
ド
to
を
need
さ
his crash
斜
pads
めに
going
なっちゃう
through.
階段を置いたら
Six
さ
eliminations there for him.
貫
4
通
for
して
Rifle
入
in
れ
the
るじゃ
bottom
ん
right. Thomas still on the high ground. We're going up a
それ強
mountain.
くない
Fiend
貫
needs
通
to
してア
get
ン
up.
チ移動でき
Go
る
to Skype, very low HP.
ほとんど
Skype's out of builds as well. He's more
YouTuber
likely going to take over to the zone as well as Keen Rifle. Very, very healthy.
これや
Crash
って
pad
み
up
よ
for
うよ
high ground. Thomas
残り5人。
HD gonna take it for now. Don't mean to snipe. Don't
残り
be
5人。いけ
aggressive.
るいける
He's
いける。
going for it. He does
オーラ
not
が
secure
ハイグラ
Thomas HD in zone. Not as
オーラが
healthy
多分
as
ハイ
Don't
グ
mean
ラ
to
だね。
snipe now.
いや
Rifle with
ハイ
the
グラ取ら
RPG
れた
trying
か
to
ら
throw
いや
it
違
down.
う。
Shots coming up
ド
through
グラだオー
chaos.
ラ。
Pain gonna go down. Sky
ロ
gonna be
ッ
the
キ
one
リ
to
して
do
る
it.
よ、オ
So
ー
he
ラ。
stayed on through the mountain. The HP wasn't enough, but Snipe with 6
オーラロッキ
eliminations
リしてる
player
よ。
right on the edge of his box. He's
い
gonna
やい
take
や
うまい。
down Snipe. And now Snipe
え、どう
versus
一緒や
Thomas
ん
versus
多分
Rifle. There's
ラグ
RPG's
で
gonna go
建
through.
築、
He
編
may
集
have
が
to get shockwave
開いた
launcher,
ま
but
ま
I've
だっ
got
た
a
んだよね。
shotgun for you, says Rifle.
俺ら
He
の画
takes
面
him
から見
down.
て。
5 eliminations. Rifle
お、クリ
versus
スマスオ
Lumia
プ。
Snipe on the
ク
low
リスマ
ground
スオプス。
RPG. Get shockwave
ハイ
launcher
だ。
as well. He's got too many things to reload.
ハイ出ろ
Could
と
be
思っ
enough
て
fully
る
be able to do it.
いや、
Lumia Snipe
う
in a
ん、うまい、う
bad
まい、うま
spot
い。
though. Does he have
あ、
floppers?
落ち
Does
た。
he have anything to make it work?
あ
Does
ら、
he have
絡
any
めて
build
痛いだろ
shots
うな、
go
今の。
through? Does that build dropping down? Shockwave's not going to be a factor here.
高い高い。
RPG going to be used. Rifle concerned on only using that. And I think this may be the key to picking up the victory royale. A lot of builds remaining here for him. This is the game. Snipe is running out. RPG going down. Could be the shot, and it is. He gets the tag. Drops down, comes through, and
Oh,
shotgun
nice.
for the
He threw
victory
his shot.
royale.
And brilliant decision from Rifle opting to use the actual rocket launcher instead of that mythic shockwave launcher because the zone pulled back over old builds. He needed to destroy them. If you're covered, you're not going to be able to get through. So rather than wasting the rocket ammo, uses the destructive potential, secures the victory royale, and he says to his org mates, it's not about you right now, it's about me. All seize this opportunity. 3 games down. 3 games left. Zeke, Bala, Shio, please let us know what's going on because this is so tense.
ハイグラのロキランはいじ
This is
め。
absurd.
いや思ったこの人たちさ
It is absolutely
ちゃんと
tense
動き
at
方
the
が
top.
分か
I
っ
mean,
ちゃうよね
EU
誰
is firing on all cylinders today.
真ん
And
中
it
の
is an
人、お前、オウ
all-out
ム真
battle
剣みたいな
at
顔
the
しと
top.
ん
We
ね
have to take a look at the standings. Now, we know coming into this game, Anas was holding that number 1 spot. But the question becomes, how many points has he racked up in that last game? And is he still hold that number 1 spot?
Okay.
I think it's going to be a dead heat at the top. I mean, it's neck and neck for so many different people because we've seen this kind of bounce all around. Everybody wants to be involved in this race.
1位が9
Deceptos
キ
is
ル
the
の
one who's all the way in the
32
lead in first place, 32 points, 9 eliminations, and he's playing so well that he doesn't even need a victory
多分
royale.
違うわ。
No, he doesn't. Not at all. Flois is up there. He kind of had that first moment, that game 1 win, and Nas will clap back. And then Rifle, it's kind of in order there, but all the players who won the games are literally tied up at 30 points. It's all about elims. There's even a further tie for Nas and Rifle.
Yeah, things are going so fast, even past that, from 6th to 10th. Rezon is still holding on to his spot. Froggy, who was 2nd, is now in 9th, but Thomas HD, Letwick, these legend status names are just doing everything they can. It is not enough to keep up with the top 5.
And Rifle is showing he belongs in that top 10, right? Coming off his first game, an 11th place with 2 eliminations. Second game, 73rd place, and now the victory out with 6 eliminations. These are the swings we need to see if people want that number 1 spot.
And there are swings happening. They might not all be seen because you can see Vidil in 19th place. He just had a very significant game. Look at the elims for him. He's actually tied up with those players up at the top of the leaderboards in terms of elims. He just needs to convert on some of these other games to make it really count.
Yeah, everyone past the top 10 are still hungry, and if they can't just look at the elims for everyone. Carrot, Squeeze, AR Baffo, they're past 5. They're fighting in that mid game, in the early game, doing whatever they can to get points and stay relevant after game 3 in this competition.
Guys, we are off to the races. We are halfway through this sprint, and we can see the finish line there. The question is, who will cross first?
The blocks are off. The starting blocks are completely off. These guys are off to the races, like you said. And we're kind of trying to see who's going to catch up. When we get to the finish line, we're basically halfway there. And at this point, just trying to extend the lead until we get towards the final games and start dashing.
You gotta pace yourself though, right? We've seen it in endgames, we've seen it on the leaderboards. These guys who are coming up on top to start with are now not being able to hold on to the first place slot, and it's about first place Zeke.
Man, there's only one active champion to go around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, as you mentioned, Bob, that we did miss out of this last game. You gotta break it down for us, man.
That we do. There are so many things for these guys doing. It's kind of a freestyle on some attempts. Snipe for him. Long range charge shotgun shots on players like Bad Sniper who started the day off so strong, but Snipe will start to rise. And there's another one. He's just looking through these small peak boxes, just the space in the end game to build up the box and get more of these. Every time you look out, there's so many people fighting to try to stay alive.
Yeah, you mentioned Vidil, who was very much alive in that last game, getting a record amount of 5 eliminations so far in his run in these grand finals. After that, still looking for more for everyone who was in this foot race. It was intense. They wanted to have a leg in the competition.
And we said it. Things that were missed. 7 Tor goes off on a spree, back to back to back elims, and he does it so well. There are so many people here in his lane, but for most of them, it's a false start in this end game.
Yeah, he was sticking beside that storm so much, looking for shots from box to box, had the AR to clear out walls. After that, got into boxes himself. He couldn't get things from range. He was right up in your face. He got even on players like Mr. Savage. Moved past that. Phenomenal game, ending somewhere near top 15.
But there's no signs of anybody lapping anyone else, except for maybe the Become Legends guys. There's so many of these names starting to push up towards the top, and look at that back-to-back. 2 players looking to lobby focus on the same person, and it works out for one, but then the player who he actually had taken a little bit from ends up getting put down. That was sneezy too.
Yeah, it was a rough run for Rifle here. Just look at all the things he had to overcome. Box to box while getting third party. Still got the elimination down. Got to hold down the wall. And the coolest RPG shot after this awesome elimination on the Thomas HD I've ever seen. Clay was saying it was hard to actually get this reloads down, get these power weapons situated. But he shoots an RPG, catches himself with a waterfall, and then connects with a drop down charge pump. What a play.
What a shot at the end. That is a shot at the end. That is ridiculous. We've seen that a number of times from the Caddy launcher players. Kit Shockwave launcher is so good, but in that case, he doesn't opt to use it at all. Just relies on his pure instincts.
Yeah, that's all it takes sometimes. Sundown likes to say it best. Some days you just have to make sure you can hit your shots better than someone else. And for Rifle, that's what we're seeing. He's like, hey, big time to make the moves. It's happening now. Now, guys, as the competition does heat up, we need to cool down. We have 3 games left. before we make an FNCS champion. But with that being said, we're going to step away. When we return, we'll have the conclusion from Europe. See you guys in 5.
ただいま。
同じのが流れているような。
同じのが流れ、ああ、多分リプレイっすよ。
邪魔なやつをとかす。ほら。
やば。
あ、あいつ邪魔かな、ちょい。
ヤンキーただそれしたいだけだよ。なんで俺のプレイ。
よ、なんで俺のプレイ映像を見てるの？
お前より、多分 FA より多分はるかにうまいと思う。ああ、立っとく。
FA 起きちょっと。
ああ、立っとく。
FA やらんと思う。
FA やらん？タイマー違う。
タイマー？絶対負けるぞお前。
間違えた。
間違えた。間違い探しの間違いの方に生まれてきたよな。来ていたけどせっかくいい位置取ってたのに。
ああ、納得。
ああ、そういうこと。やめて、それ見えない。見えなくなる。
上のグラップラーよくね。こう乗りて。
今起きた。
今起きた。だって。みんなが見えるようなあれにしとかないとな。こんぐらいかな、多分角度は。角度良さげ。今起きた。
CR の人また死体打ちしてた。
うるさお前。うるさい。うるさすぎ。
ごめん。CR でちょっと
CR の人また死体打ちしてた。やば。
どういう意味？ CR で出るって意味？
CR って死体打ちしたらクビになりそうなんだけど。ならないのかな。
炎上するよね、多分。
炎上というかクビになると思う。クビというか。
てか、CR そういうことする人いなさそうじゃない？
CR の人にってことじゃない？違うかな。
ユセアって人。
ユセア。じゃあその人多分もう CR 終わったな。うまい。
CR じゃないやん。ユセアっていう人。CR おるけ？
知らん。
きついオーラ。
いや、オーラきつい。
FNCS ヒート2でしてた。
いや、オーラきついな。
誰邪魔する人？この線で
フロッパー持ってるから多分ワンチャンどこで回復するかよね。
オッケー。どっか行かせた。うまい。
うまい。わ、後ろいる。
うまい。
うまい。ナイス。お、村田くんだった。武器一気に強くなったね。ただフロッパーが足りん気がするな、なんか。
ラグにやっぱね。1、2、もう一つチキン。よくね、今の。
多分ただ単に俺らがこうやって見てるパーティーロワイヤルで見てるからラグインだと思う。うまいそれ。
うまいそれ。
うまい。このオーラうめえ。ああ、多分リリース編集じゃないね。
リリース編集の方が早いよ。
ありがとう。
早いけど、ありがとう。ヒートにで。いや、そうなんだ。
編集上下
お
いや、AM。
うお
うまい。合ってる。
あ、固まった。
あ、うまい。ナイスクル。
うまいね。
え
時々飛ぶ、固まって飛ぶからちょっとわけわからんけど、まあいいだろ、そんぐらい。それパーティーロワイヤルで見えるんだし。
個持って
うまいよ。
練習して
うまい。うまい、このオーラ。あ、この人さっき6キルしてた人だ、多分。6キル。
でもこれ、もう8キルぐらいしちゃうやろ、オーラ。
6、あ、今5、今5。
いや、きつい、それはきつい。間違いに飛んだじゃん。
Hello and welcome back to continued coverage of the FNCS Grand Finals. I'm your host Zeke, joining us here on the desk as analyst. We got Shy, we got Ball at TW. Gentlemen, we are halfway through the leg of this race. And these last 3 games are going to dictate who walks away as an FNCS champion. We're just going to get back into it because we have games on deck, so we're sending it back over to our caster, Sundown and PlayStation, to get us into the action. Take it away, boys.
別にお菓子食べる音入ってもええで、別に。
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shio, and Bala, and welcome back, everyone. This is game number 4 of the FNCS Finals. 3 games have been down, and we're also jumping a little bit into this one so we can stay up to date. Clay, what do you think of the action so far?
It has been tense, and it is going to be a nail-biter coming into this game as we saw the top is only separated by a few points, and there was a 3-way tie there. The third, of course, it all breaks down based on tiebreakers, but our Victory Royale winners are in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. As Deceptos is in 1st with no Victory Royales. We're hopping on board here first, though, with Thomas HD. He was able to get Shockwave Launcher and that Mythic Charge shotgun in the inventory. Will he go aggressive in the mid-game, though, however, is the question.
And that's what he's looking for right now. We talked about just how valuable that mythic loot is coming out of Caddy. He also has all of the excess shields and the guaranteed launch pad that comes from the vault, but you still have to execute on the rotation because while it is super valuable, everyone in their mother and their grandmother and probably their 3rd and 2nd cousins and that one person you talked to in 3rd grade the one time as you're at the water fountain, they all want this mythic loot. It is so strong, particularly in solos when it comes to maintaining high ground control in the end game, which allows you to convert at a much higher percentage at actually closing out the game.
And Thomas is no stranger to doing that. We've seen him do it before many, many times, but winless on the day. There's still 3 more games for him to get this win, but getting tagged up in this early portion of the game is hard for you and for your loot because you have to invest time, you have to invest mats and those shields to use it there. As we see Kiriachi going to fall there in the feed. Thomas has to be careful about going for shots like that. Standing still is never okay in Fortnite because it will always get you tagged up. He was luckily able to avoid it.
And Thomas HD knows all about that, known for being one of the best and most accurate players in Europe, particularly with those hunting rifles and sniper rifles, and able to punish the players looking to throw those shots in there and to rack up damage for Storm Surge. That's what we talk about when it's all about the tags going through there. But now we're going to take a look at a quick little replay here there as Flois will be able to pick up an Elam as he's going through here, but then I believe he fell right after that.
And landing in a different spot than he was normally, as he does end up falling to SD. He, in the gas station, has been changing up loot spots every single game today, and it doesn't seem to be working out after his great performance in that first game.
And Wolfie is actually also going down to himself there, which to me indicates he probably might have tried to RPG too close there. Wasn't a storm signal going off, so he will be taken out, and we saw him go down early last game as well. Rifle actually going to yoink that elimination away there. As you can see, Thomas trying to close in, get as much pressure here. Rifle did close out that last game, so getting another elimination there. Really good job on Thomas, using that shockwave horizontally, closing the distance onto passive, and giving him a little donkey laughing and take the L. If you're in Party Royale Island right now, you got that combo? Can you hit that combo real quick? Give him the donkey laugh into the L with a quick little dab, and then back into the L. Show him what you got. Show Thomas HD some love, because that was a well-executed play there. He's going to look to continue to roll with that loot into the finals.
And while Thomas is dancing, Mongrel falls on the other side of the map as well. So they're definitely needing to change it around. And this is something that's unique to see, is that the players near the top are not stopping. They are not stopping their aggression because they are near the top. They want to keep pushing the pedal. They realize how close it is. They say, you know what? If you're going to catch me, you need to go just as aggressive as I am. If not better, as Deceptos is looking for a snipe, almost hits it. And he barely even saw that player. Would have been one to definitely put in the montage and the highlight reel. He's got to be careful. There's a player nearby, and he needed those tags because he is below Storm Surge.
24 below, 27 below, so it's going to continue to drop. You can see 77 players left. Once the storm does close in, that Storm Surge will come into play. Don't forget that is 25 damage every 10 seconds. And with only the 3 minis, that's very rapidly going to pick through. But he should have an opportunity here. There's multiple players rotating in front of him. Still 5 below after that 32 tag, so not quite enough, but might have a nice little ambush opportunity, especially with those 3 crash pads here. However, he needs to be careful as there's 2 players here. And I think one of the players has to be below Storm Surge because they're in the zone and still pressing really aggressively.
And a nice heads-up tag there by Deceptos to get another tag for that Storm Surge. He's hopping the box. He's done with it. He says, you know what? I don't want to wait anymore. I want that tag. And with that elimination, he secures himself a placement point as well as the elim point going into that top 75 placement threshold.
Yeah, and a good job. So huge impact elimination there. We talk about tags, which is when you're just trying to land shots for some damage, not necessarily looking to convert, but a massive conversion, which ends up being 2 points to the placement swing, puts him well above the Storm Surge threshold. So their number 1 place, not going to be threatened by that. Going to get a relatively easy transition into the mid game after getting the resources from that elimination. But now on board with Bafo here, slightly off of the top 15 pace in terms of 20 points, but more than capable of picking himself back up, and he is well above that Storm Surge threshold now. And oh my lord, the legendary pistol going to work. Ovations Arion going down there. And we've talked about just how strong that weapon can be and why these competitive and tough players are opting to pick it up. It's because in the most recent season, all of those assault rifles have had their headshot multipliers changed to be 1.5. The pistols, on the other hand, still have a 2.0 headshot multiplier, which means due to the higher rate of fire, if you're able to be accurate and find 1 or 2 headshots like you saw in that situation, you can convert into eliminations on a really consistent basis, and sometimes even better with the AR. But now, back on board here with Thomas, and the reason we're watching him is we're checking that loadout. He's the one with Kit's mythic loot, has the launch pad, and we've seen just how destructive it can be in all of these late game scenarios.
And Thomas has been mastering it so far, but he does get tagged up again. This is not good for Thomas. He's got the shockwave launcher. He's got a lot of builds, but he's running out of heals as he's going to get a nice beam, and we'll see him shockwave here momentarily. No, decides not to. As Carrot seems like he ran out of mats or was just in a bad situation, and Thomas capitalized yet again. And we've seen this in the first game. We saw him get mid-game elims. But this is the first time he's been able to actually get an elim and get the loot that comes with it. So that's going to be really good and really scary for these competitors. If he was able to pick up any minis or floppers there, he's in a good spot. Someone, however, not in a good spot is Arden, as Hin takes him down very, very low. Arden's going to have to make a play, but there's no play to be made there from him.
Yeah, and the storm was on his back, forcing him to rotate through. Hen also good job dropping down, picking up whatever he could get there, because you notice not a ton of materials coming over just below the elimination counter to the right of his name. You can see the total number of builds he has available as it does start ticking down. So only about a third of the maximum available, because when you're in the competitive mode, there is a mat cap. It's not 999 metal, 999 wood, 999 brick. No, you can only carry 500 of each, which ends up equating to 150 total builds. As now we're going to switch on over to an initial replay here of Hen putting pressure down towards the fight and getting kind of this first damage onto Ardit, and it's just like a really good job making sure he's closing this out. And you can see, because the storm is pressing up on the back and Ardit doesn't have the supplies or anything to really get past Hen, he's just forced to go, and Hen faking that he had rotated and then turning around, a really good job picking up that elimination. As now we're going to hop back on board with our current leader, Gamers Origin Deceptos.
And we're to Holly Hedges. That's really good for players like Rezon. We have not had to move this entire game as it's coming to a close here. He's got a good position in zone as well, as we see a lot of players go down. Storm Surge will be a factor in this next zone as it starts to close. We only need 10 players, however, a little bit less of the players alive, as this was a harder rotate for some players to make. Deceptos, however, is not slowing down at any moment in time. Constantly looking for tags, constantly looking for picks, constantly looking for anything he can to continue to spread his lead even more, because he was only in the lead before this by 2 points. Now will definitely be in the lead by at least 3 with that elimination, but that's not going to be enough for him. He wants to be 10, 15 points, however many more he can increase. That's where he wants to be, and he's actually following the path of Rezon right now.
And trying to Fortnite as a platformer, just hitting all those crash pads, but unfortunately missing the second one, and he could end up paying for it as the spray comes through, and now he's going to be forced to burn some of the shields there, make sure he gets himself back up. You do see Rifla moving past him there. That was the match number 3 winner, trying to continue his momentum and rolling forward, as now back on board here with Deceptos. Burned 2 of his minis and one of the big pots. Also down to just 62 builds and 2 crash pads. So a player right next to him not owning the wall, and he follows up 1, 2, 3 shots, but then he needs to back off right away because he picked up racks, but then another player was squeezing in towards the end, and this is that 4th circle kind of crunch we talk about, where everyone's piling in, establishing their box on the edge of the zone, trying to pull the half in, half out, but not get eliminated and not end up being the focus of other players. That's why you see kind of these different apartment buildings kind of being segmented off towards the side, as now we swing on over to Tayson, who also has Snazy right by him, but Tayson currently throwing some great shots and in an awesome gatekeeping position.
And in a very good spot, because there's no one really looking at him in that area. Now, if Zone does not pull where he wanted to, he will be in an awkward spot, but you see a shark coming through the background, hitting some players, somebody else down below just trying to stave off the pressure, the lobby spray coming through, and that's what happens when you beat a little bit of a loot goblin. Milan gonna go down, but Tayson looking to get another elimination there. Someone else trying to rotate out as well. A lot of shots going on. Everybody firing. He finds the man's literal foot there as he's getting the shot down to him, but I think that elimination is going to go over to Vidil. Tayson not able to capitalize on the second elimination, but at least able to pick up 1.
And you can see the thought process behind Vidil right there, trying to get around, or Vidil picking up Pinky there, trying to get around and rotate the side, using kind of the water and the path that was there, but both the sharks and the lobby focus, and the fact that the players had already established themselves in the zone meant the late rotate wasn't going to pay off. As now, look at the players who are all stacked on top of each other here. We're going to hop on board with Letwick, who's going to pick up Floppa Michael. We are inside the top 50, so second placement point has gone over. Now back on board with Letwick again, trying to push through and find a second Elam. It's Rifla who's going to get down. That was the match number 3 winner, so still plenty of the top players left in this one.
But they could go down if Letwick's continuing to push this advantage, but he doesn't have HP in his inventory. He's got the floppers, but no extra minis. This is not what he wanted from that lead. He was hoping for big shields, chug splashes, any more minis there, but not able to get it. And maybe wonder if Rifle was able to steal some of those away, as he decides to disengage and actually ends up letting near Slick there. The Strokey down there as well. Slender, Vidil, Queasy, Tayson down there, as you see them panning through. Rifle, though, in a very good spot to look at anybody crash padding in the zone, and shots continuing to hit here from him is tracking beautifully through the air. Milan will fall. They're running out of AR ammo, though, so this is concerning. He's not able to pick up any of these eliminations. It's not really worth it.
Yeah, he's desperately looking for the siphon because he doesn't have a big pot to take himself over. This is the half-in, half-out zone, so he's just trying to keep the players from rotating in. But as you see in the bottom right-hand corner, pretty much everyone has already made it right to the edge of the circle. So once we move into zone number 6, aka the moving zones and the late game, it's all going to be about the rotation priority. This is the late game, match number 4. All of the top players are still in it, so keep an eye on that top left corner and who's taking down who, as all of them are capable of winning this game and closing out the victory round. 40 players remaining. The zone's going to close here, and we'll have the first reveal of the moving zones. You can see Rifla, Deceptos, Seventor, Steelix, Bion God, all the players directly on top of each other. Floki, Thomas HD, Vato, so many players stacked right towards this edge, and nobody has priority on the zone. Everybody is going to be forced to rotate. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. Pretty much the entire lobby is on the south side, and you have to go northwest. This is going to signal a ton of early crash pads, early launch pads, and then players who don't have that utility either looking to recycle it from opponents or just branch out right away. And here it goes. The crash pads and the launch pads are out.
Rifle choosing to just launch instead of recycle because he doesn't want to rely on that volatility that is the Fortnite lobby. You see, looking around and scouting everything that he can. He wants as much information as he can. SMG is out. We haven't seen any SMG plays here in competitive Fortnite because not a lot of players are prioritizing it as an RPG is going to come through. Rifle going to take a lot of damage, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of this one. 29 HP. He does have mini shields in his inventory, and you see he did get out. He is going on the aggression. He has to go forward, and he needs to realize that he's got to be careful. He also needs this. He desperately needs to get elimination.
つきました。招待お願いします。
And MCS X Squeezy has just picked up a huge elimination. Deceptives going down. Anas also going down. Squeezy got picked up right before that, but the two top players are now out. This is Rifle's opportunity to stamp it. Hen is out as well. There's another player who's top 6 going into it. All of the legends are dropping, and Rifle is saying it's my opportunity to shine. He won match number 3.
ありがとうございます。
Picks up Slicks as well, saying I'm the best of us right now. I will prove it. 39 points. Top 25 going through another placement threshold, but can he execute from the low ground, now hopping up into the mid ground as we get a look at the wide, everyone else rotating through, but back on board with Rifle. Already 4 eliminations and pushing for that next placement threshold at top 20 as Janice picks up Thomas. Shrimsy also going down, another point ticking over, and that's around 40 for Rifle.
This is really good to see. He's got to keep going. He can't get stuck in the zone like this. That's exactly what's happening. He's being held out. Shots coming through. Not able to connect on him, and he's going to take over the zone. 41 points is what he's finished on for this game. So anybody over 41 or close is going to look to challenge. Dance on the high ground. Look in the mid ground. Taste on there as well. Smudge and Stacey. Badil, PCH, and Scrib there. That's your top, 11, 10 players there. As Janice is looking just to spray everybody. PCH rotating through that second high position, looking to get anything going there as Interact is hiding behind Letwick there. We get a lot of wides coming through as Janice is trying to pressure down there, I believe, with that pistol there, or maybe an AR. Doesn't really have much to work with, it seems like, because his HP has not increased. His Tayson going to get tagged on up. Smudge and PCH added. Scrib trying to make their rotation through. Slender on the low ground as well as Stacey. PCH is unfortunately going to fall. Interact going to be there as well. Vadil right now on your screen, 3 eliminations, looking to make it more. 9 total players remaining. Got Crashman, got Floppers. Scrib is going to fall there. Vadil trying to rotate with the last little bit of match that he's got. He's got enough hard match to make one more box, and then he's going to have to make a play as everybody making plays down below. He's just trying to hold out. He doesn't want to drop down right away. Steve going down. Nice shot there on a Tayson. It's a mythic loot there, but he's not going to be able to pick it on up. Everybody falling. Bunch going down as well. Floppers being popped here. Does he have enough HP to pop and make it in his zone? The Floppers are going to help him. Letwick going to go down. He was up there near the points as well. Janice maybe able to take this. The FNCS solo invitational winner doing very well, but look at Vadil. Just floppering in zone, trying to mini up, trying to get prepared. As Slender is going to go into zone. The shockwave launcher is here. Janice going to lose high ground there to Vadil. Does he have enough HP to keep it? Does he have enough match to keep it as well? Vadil dropping down, shockwave being used. Everyone being flown. Janice is still there. Shot's going to do. Vadil going to miss, and unfortunately, Slender going to take him down. Now in a 1v1 scenario. Janice launches himself in the zone. Oh no! This is not what he wanted. He didn't want that, but shots go through. He hits a lot of damage, and now the HP is back in his favor. Slender has to make a play. Shockwaves being used, and I don't know if there's enough shockwaves left in the game to give Janice the win, but he's got the HP. He's got the shotgun shot. He's got the pressure, but can he find it? Can he find the angle that he needs? He's going to have to drop down sooner or later. The zone. We've got one more, but Slender notices that and gets the jump up dub.
Slender with the 4 eliminations in the victory royale, 25 points coming out and executing from the low ground. Janice unfortunately not able to close it out with the shockwave launcher, but a good defense coming out from Slender there. And 4 matches are down with just 2 games remaining. Who will walk away with that #1 spot in Europe? Zeke, Bala, Shio, break it down for us. Let us know what we're looking for.
There's a lot of things that we are looking for, and right now there's actually some we have yet to see, and the leaderboard is going to help uncover what it is we're missing. Because there's a shark hiding in the shadows as we are running toward this finish line. Boys, first off, big congratulations there to Slender. I like the big royale, and I like the defensive route he needed to take there to keep Janice away from getting that win.
シンクがビクロイトった時の実況者が多分こいつやった。
What is it going to look like going into the final slots over here for Europe? For the standings, in first place, is it someone new? What's it going to be? No, Rifla is still holding on to that top spot. 41 points in total. Now almost leading the pack, right behind Vidil in eliminations. Has that win in case of the tiebreaker, but he is dominating game after game, so consistent.
But the two players I want to highlight, because what we're talking about consistency, these guys are converting the most. Rifle has actually had a second or third zone fall, which actually pushes his average placement way out. And if that happens again, that is dangerous. Whereas Desitos and Letwick, they've only had one game where they've fallen out of the 4 in around the top 40 area, which is actually converting on a little bit of elims, but otherwise, too, they're pushing deep into the top 10 on every game that they make it into that end game. So that is very, very crucial looking forward. I think it's going to be a duel between Desitos and Letwick.
I mean, they are pulling away from the pack. Look at the top 3 down to top 10. You're looking at an 11-point differential. And don't forget, Flois was the first winner on the day. He got the first victory out. But we see this a lot, right? Whoever starts strong, they tend to fizzle.
Still, though, like, everyone always has this expectation that it's possible for these players in 20th place, in 30th place to bounce back up. I would usually agree, but after watching you today, it is the same players we're seeing live in endgames. When we say these guys just need 7 or 11 points, that means getting to the top 10. And for a lot of these guys like Steelix Snazy, yes, they're playing well, but are they there consistently? That is the big question.
Yeah, that it will be. Bad sniper. 21st right now. Mongrel also middling around 22nd. That's not where these guys want to be going into the final 2 games, but there's still a chance. We all know when it comes to 6-game grand finals that the final 2 games mean so much.
No matter what, these guys want to get better than anyone else around them, want to place higher. So all the way till the final game, the competition will stay hot.
We got to think, man. 2 games left. It's wild to think we've been doing this for like 3 weeks now, and now we get to look at the conclusion, see who will hold the Axe of Champions high. And after 2 games, now, guys, we were kind of talking about players, the shark in the water, and it's none other than Deceptos, who is finding himself in that 2nd place. We haven't seen him much on broadcast, so what has this guy been doing?
I thought it was going to be a group effort here, but 100% we'll break it down in just a sec. Deceptos has basically been going, as you said, through those shadows, right? He's been playing around other players and how, you know, kind of pop-offy they've been. They're kind of showing overall exactly what they can do and break down in front of everyone else. And while they're taking the spotlight, that's the word I was looking for, Deceptos is operating in that background. He's getting everything these players are not looking at or seeing.
Yeah, there's so much to actually consider when getting into Deceptos' game plan because, like I said, he's converting on these end games. I want to find out how. I want to find out where this man is dropping and how he's actually transitioning into the end game. Because, like I said, it's so important, but these are some of the things we miss. Him in top 10 right here, 2 eliminations, and he still makes a couple counts. While some at the top, like Rifle, might be having a little bit more impact in terms of elimination, he's making it count for placements.
And this is exactly how he gets his game started. Let's actually break down what he does every single game, specifically that last one too. Landing somewhere near the lake, actually taking a back alley loop path all the way across the map, picking up so many houses that people will get to later on faster than them, and then getting into these positions, these boxes fast, where he has control and can drop down these shotgun shots in really crazy angles.
And this game right here was actually Deceptos' first game where he ended up falling after that top 50 mark, so he got the 2 placement points. But what he did do is actually fight a little earlier. Grab that elim on backside. Has the awareness to recognize that Arax is in the box next to him. He'll convert, but after those 2 fights, that's when it gets to be a little risky for Letwick. It was last game that was an issue for him. This time, he's still going in, and he'll take down so many important ones. That was a Nas, and you know how high he was on the leaderboard.
And these guys are in the game every single time. They're taking out these big names. We alluded to these 20th place players possibly rising to the top. They have to overcome these 2 monstrous barriers.
I mean, You know, and it's just going to come down to the final 2 games here. Rifle holding strong at the top, but Deceptos, they're lurking in the water. You've got Letwick on the side. Anas, who picked up the Victory Royale, is here as well to play the deal, who made it through, which, by the way, sat in the storm forever. Was eating floppers, and then is like, oh, I have to get to the storm? I got crash pads, baby, it's good. So many names are in this race right now.
Yeah, but for me, I'm going to pick Deceptos to make it through in these last 2 games. He has been playing out of his mind, and before that game where he fell after 50th place, for him it was an average placement of 9.67. So I'm going with the Frenchman. Allez les Bleus, let's go.
Okay, I'm going to pick a Rifle to stay up top. I feel like being in first is a big deal, and he can hold on and stop these 2 men, no matter where they're from taking that top spot.
All right, I'm going to the deal because he has style points and I like style. Guys, with that being said, we're getting ready to head into the next game, game number 5 here in EU. Sundown, Clay, let's throw it your way.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And with just 2 games left to go, it is tightly contested at the top of the leaderboard. You see Rifle currently holding a 4-point lead just over Deceptos and Letwick, but plenty of people within striking distance still. We've seen time and time again those victory royales worth right around 19 and 20 points, so anybody can make a play. But Clay, if you're going to make that play, it has to be right now.
You cannot wait any longer. This is it. These are the final moments. There is one more game, but there's not enough points on the lobby for you to make that play if you wait till the final moment. So you need at least 2 games to write the miracle run, the miracle story that we've seen a lot of players do. Will Rifle be able to make that happen? Noah Riley trying to make his run up the top of the leaderboard as well. Rifle, though, is relatively uncontested other than he's got 2 people there, but with the way Frenzy's built, you can be contested and never see your opponent.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities for you to break sight lines, get through. You can also see Llama tagged up. Llama 210 over there. Chat calling it out. Everyone, there's plenty of opportunities to get through. And Rifle is going to be super thankful for that. The Llama coming through is such a big influx of not only materials, but key end game items that really enable you to go through, especially getting that launch pad. But now you can see engagement going on over here with Supremacy's Floki and Flecken. Who will be the better F as they fight it out here? The question will be resolved quickly as the crash pad ends up coming through. Floki putting the pressure down on the Flecky, but nobody necessarily able to connect shots. And as I say that, Floki hits 2 back-to-back. He says, thanks for the loot. I'll take that epic tactical shotgun and everything else that comes with it. The crash pads, the shields, all the metal over here on the side, and he's going to be very happy about that.
And the guaranteed launch pad that comes out of the rig's vault area. That is a very, very big pickup for Floki. And again, in that range where they could make something happen. Now we do have a replay here of what happened at Caddy Corner with Thomas HD. Running away is going to get tagged up out. I actually had 1 build left, but you can't build right there. And unfortunately falling early.
Vestakira taking down what was the 7th ranked player there. So what you care about right now as a viewer, we're keeping an eye on that top left-hand corner. Who in the top 10 is falling and who can remain and keep picking up points, because that's going to set up the story for what the final game is and who's going to have an opportunity. But right now, Bad Sniper needs to be careful. First AR shots come out right away from the Bush Wookiee, trying to set up an ambush, and Bad Sniper going to cover himself up and immediately start burning through that utility because he doesn't want to get pressured down.
He's got to be careful. There's players nearby as well. He's got to get out. And this is Kiriachi. This is kind of what we expect from him at this point, just going aggressive and going into boxes where he definitely doesn't have the advantage, but his aim is going to be the advantage there for him. He does hit the floor there, but not able to keep tracking Bad Sniper there. The third party comes in, but he's not phased. Shot comes through, and he does end up hitting it. The crash pad going to be used. That player going to get in the box. They're going aggressive. Bad Sniper, though, is actually going to pick it up, but what a turnaround!
Great job from Bad Sniper executing and finishing that one out under pressure. He needed that to stay in the running and to stay in contention just outside the top 15 right before that, but hopefully going to be able to potentially make a push. But still a tough day for Kiriachi, somebody who is either really hot or really cold, and right now sitting at only 7 points after 5 matches. Well, he's looking ice cold.
In contrast, however, someone who's ice or hot, rather, not ice hot. That doesn't really work there. But Deceptos on fire right now. 37 points. Is in second place, however. His lead did get snatched away from him there. But he does have the tools to do it. He's got a shotgun AR, he's got rotation, and he's got the heals. Question is, this zone, how is he going to play it? Already choosing to base up in a really good spot as well. Does not have a lot of metal, but can extend out to that bridge if he wants to. And this is what happens in these last couple games. If you're near the top, you base up very, very early because you don't want your game being affected by any little thing.
That's the goal, is just to make it into that mid-game, transition yourself, avoid those early games. And if you are just joining us, whether it's on Twitch, Twitter, watch.fortnite.com, YouTube, or in Party Royale, welcome. This is game number 4 of the EU FNCS Solos Finals after 2 weeks of competition and then heats. This is the top 100 players battling it out, and they have 2 matches left to stake their claim as the best player in Europe, walk away with that top prize pool and also the Axe of Champions. And right now, Gamers Origin Deceptos is in second place, just behind Rifla, who we saw take away match number 3 and have a solid performance in match number 4. But right now, needs to be careful because we've seen what Flois is capable of, and he's right nearby him.
And Deceptos is looking for that elimination and the tags, because he hasn't, it seems like, hasn't gotten any tags yet based on where he is in the zone. And definitely will need them with Storm Surge. We won't see it as much in these later games, as you saw Kiriachi getting more aggressive, turning more to that Kiriachi from old that we've seen time and time and again. And other players are going to start to do that as well. They need that pop-off game. They need that game to really set them apart. That's what they're doing. But we've got another replay here from Ledwig's perspective, as he's on the back foot running away from a henchman, as well as another player there. Is going to look to try to take down Jules, and unfortunately, you can't take down Jules when there's a Carrot lurking nearby.
The coordinated spray there between the henchman and Carrot will take down Letwick. He was third place going into this, so still plenty of room for others to move up the leaderboard. But hopping on over with Hen, who was 6th coming into this match, trying to keep an eye on who's on the top of the leaderboard. What are they doing to set themselves up? Because again, this is the second to last match, so if you're going to get going, you have to move now. With top 75 ticking over, that's 1 point for everyone left in the lobby. You get a placement point for outlasting the first 25 players, then you get a placement point for outlasting the next 25 players, so that's top 50, and then after every top 10 until you get to the top 25, and then it's every 5 players until you're into the top 3. So right now, Hen just trying to settle himself up, make sure he has plenty of materials. He's in a good spot to rotate after this, but he is very far south on the zone, so if zone number 2 does pull northward, it can be a little difficult. However, he's looking to just potentially find tags on rotating players, and he's going to find one there.
And he needs this, because he came into the game down, I believe my math correct, 7 points there. That's a lot of points, especially with the low amount of eliminations that we've seen Hen get. Not really one to be up there in the average elimination category, but he's got it. Number 3 went down, number 7 went down. And in 6th place coming into this game, has got an opportunity to really solidify himself. I know a lot of people who saw that performance in the qualifier where he ended up getting 2nd place and were like, oh, that's not the Hen that I know, but an ambush being set up shows that Hen has got the ability to do it, and you can't build a wall there. He's got to be careful. Snipe, unfortunately, forgot about that, and Hen took advantage. The quick reaction time for Hen going to set him apart. Another elimination, closing the gap. But the point I was trying to make is that Hen is here. He is turning online. This is where he can make his name become a legend.
And that's what he's looking to do in a really good job. We talk about how the best players in the world, not just in the region, but at the absolute highest level, not only are they capable of winning those early game fights and rotating in the late game, but they're so good at manufacturing eliminations, setting up these ambushes, and finding spots to take advantage of their opponent. Notice how Hen was crouched beside the side of the wall. In Cartoon, we talk about taking advantage of rotations there, using the epic sniper rifle, catching Benji out in the open on top of the Authority, and sometimes that's all it takes. No warning, nothing whatsoever, except the whizzing of a bullet, and then all your loot dropping down to the ground. Waves Cartoon taking out Energy's Benji Fishy, the fan favorite, the World Cup qualifier, arguably one of the most consistent players in EU, but he's struggled time and time again when it comes to these grand finals FNCS situations. We saw it back in Season X with MMB where they kept getting ambushed over and over again, and it's proving true today. But right now, our #1 player, Rifla, under all the pressure in the world and only those 2 minis to get himself back up, and Scram is not letting him heal up at all, not relenting, trying to pressure down and give everyone else a chance to catch up.
Rifla's got to make a play here. Scram is 200 HP as Rifla can crash pad it in. The box goes through. He's not going to be able to crash pad out, and #1 is out of the game. That's really good for Deceptos, who currently in 2nd place right now.
Not only is it good for Deceptos, it's good for every single player in the lobby. Letwick is down in 3rd. Rifla is down in 1st. What does that mean? It doesn't matter how low on the leaderboard you are. If you can convert a victory royale, that's 14 points without the eliminations. Traditionally, we've seen at least 4, if not 5. That's a 19-point game. Any player who walks away with a victory here could rocket themselves up the leaderboard, and Tayson's trying to do it, and he does it to Janice himself over in the Steamy Stack side. The duo and trio partners, they played together time and time again, but there is no love lost in solos. It doesn't matter who you're fighting against. At the end of the day, with 2 matches left, when your back is against the wall and that Axe of Champions is on the line, when you've seen the #1 player go down, you're taking every fight at 100%, and Tayson cleans up the FNCS Invitational winner. No problem there.
A beautiful display of skill there from Ason. Says, you know what? All is fair and love is war. I'm taking you down. I'm getting it. Just a reminder, there's $800,000 on the line here today. One elimination could separate you from a certain placement threshold on that overall leaderboard, and that could be the difference between some big amounts of money. And so no one wants to go out just sitting there not taking engagement or having to think about, oh, that one elimination would have put me there. Deceptos, however, in 2nd place right now, but 1st place, 3rd place, 7th place are all out of the game. Nas still in the game from what we know, Vadil still in the game from what we know, and Hen still in the game from what we know. There's still a chance for him to be challenged, but this is great for Deceptos because if he can just make it to a top 5, he's already going to eclipse the points that Rifla had. So any eliminations and any placement past that will be so good for him.
And you can see what Deceptos is doing right now is he's hanging out inside of his box, and then he's editing the cone in the top. What that allows you to do, as opposed to other structures, you can see out the top of that cone. You can kind of scout out the information around you. He's trying to figure out where the priority is, and once the zone does reveal, he's going to move a little bit more inland from that outside. He knows he doesn't want to be right on the edge, but he also doesn't want to move too far center, as he wants to set himself up for that 4th and 5th zone positioning, as now we're going to swing on over the farm. And a number of players here, Lecce, Ardent, Mongrel, and Noah Riley, all posted up right on top of this barn and also right on the edge of that next safe zone.
He's got a shockwave launcher that has been doing very well. I think 3 out of the 4 games the player has won with actually using it. That last game we saw it actually get defeated there. Question is, will Noah be able to reign supreme with it? With only 27 builds, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's got to get this elimination down below. Dropping through the rafters, though, will give him an opportunity to get a shot, but it misses. As a 3rd party coming through, Noah Riley suddenly finds himself in a situation he does not want to be in, and the quick edits out will return him to the high ground, but there's not much to work with here. He's already farmed it all out.
Yeah, and he's going to now start breaking those builds. You saw they were already damaged, just trying to get as much wood without actually converting over, but he is quite literally right on the white line of the zone with so many sharks in the water right around him. You saw Mongrel saying, nope, I'm getting out of there, and if Mongrel's rotating away from the situation, you probably don't want to get stuck in it either. But Noah Riley, if anybody has the loadout to make it work, it's him with the mythic weaponry, particularly in close quarters. You have so many options available to you, and that mythic shard shotgun hits so hard, and it's Lecce who he hits so hard, 12 HP being the difference, and then immediately boxes, edits himself up, and he's going to pop those shields, get the med kit off, and try and defend, but no. Only 1 mini he's able to get off. Again, going to break away and just going to opt to use the shockwave launcher to create some space, use some natural cover there, and the ramp that was pre-built to hopefully now pop that med kit. But Clement is nearby, just cone camping.
That was too close for comfort there for Noah Riley. Got that Elam, but not as many matches he was hoping for it, and hopefully able to continue his streak going through. But now we're on board here with Rezon. Same kind of situation. A lot to work with in the inventory, but not a lot of match. And look, he's looking to set up. Oh, crash pad into the top. Will he get in? No, the cone's going to prevent it, but he's all the way in. He doesn't care. This player being a little bit too careful with their builds, and they wanted that drop, and they're not going to be able to get it. Is Rezon going to get the drop on them as they're continuing the crash pad? Crash pad in, trying to get the player out, and shots go through, and PCH going to go down yet again.
Really good job from Reason there to hound that fight out, saw all of the excess loot that was coming in there, knew if he was able to close that out, he'd be able to just kind of advance himself into the game. And notice too, he pulled that fourth zone. He's right on the edge of that, so he should be looking to see how many extra materials he was able to pick up from PCH there and just build himself a nice little base, expand out, get deeper into that zone, and then own all of that territory possible, make it harder for people to rotate back over. As now we're going to swing on board here with Hen, who was 6 coming into this match. Another big opportunity for him to rocket up the leaderboard with his teammate Rifla going down.
He's got to make a very, very good slate of decisions in front of him. When does he rotate? Does he rotate now? If you look, he's got a good white line there. Only one player standing between him and that. And he's actually going to choose to go around to the top. But he assumes that there's not that many players coming this way because it came from Simi. But look how many arrows assumed that as well. And so, unfortunately, he's got a lot of players this area. He's trying to set up an ambush, but nobody is going to fall for it. Kane is going to be the one nearest there as he does get some shots, but this is not where Hen wants to be. He's going to have to get creative on this next piece of the rotation because Kane's going to sit in the cone. He's got to realize that, and he does. He puts the ramp. He knows immediately that that cone in the middle of all these builds is a little bit fishy.
It's a little bit fishy. You can also tell as soon as it enters that edit state, it's no longer that fully built. If you see a non-fully built cone, you have to be wary of it. But that player trying to catch an advantage of Hen, and Hen says, joke's on you. Welcome to the chicken coop. I'm the boss here. Takes him down. No problem closing in on that second place in threshold. But Hen trying to catch up and take over that #1 spot, being the top legend, but now on board one of the favorites is Rezon, who has had a relatively decent performance today, just on the outside of the top 15 coming into this game, but it's not been the consistency we've seen out of him in the heat stage, finding it a little bit harder to cement himself in those consistent top 15s and top 10s that he was so well known for during the qualifiers.
And every day you play Fortnite, somebody gets better, somebody improves, and somebody comes out of nowhere, and you've got to be on top of that. And for some of these players, sometimes, you know, it doesn't end up working out that way because of the RNG factor. It's unfortunate to see him go down there as we see a fight happening between Wolfies and Serenity Swaps as Rezon going to look to get some third parties there, is actually shooting through an open edit there, not shooting through a wall. As he does get some tags onto Swaps, as Swaps is dropping down onto Wolfies, and Wolfies is actually going to fall.
And we've seen this time and time again. We've kind of talked about it. Wolfies is really good when he's the aggressor, but he can kind of be taken advantage of when you go back on him. And that's what we've seen time and time again. And that's kind of what European solos is about. Like, yes, you can be good when you have all the tempo, but pretty much every other one of these players is good at playing high tempo. As Reason identifying the fact that that fight had been resolved, immediately crash pads over, and he's able to pick that one up. Now he has 3 players worth of loot over on the side with priority on zone. He's going to be somebody to keep an eye on to potentially take advantage of the fact that 3 of the players in the top 7 have already fallen. Tayson, another player we want to keep an eye on. He was top 10 before coming right into this. He's able to pick up Steelix with just 1 HP to spare before that siphon ends up coming through, and that's a 2-point swing as we hit top 50.
And he finds the extra minis as well. This is so good. He gets the flopper off. He's going to have minis to refill the ones that he's trying to take. And he finds a good path to zone as well. This was very, very clutch in getting into this end game, because had he not found that, he would have been very, very, very much in shambles. As Rezon nearby, Milwaukee there as well, as we get Nebby, Arion Carton there on your screen. Mr. X as well advises there. A Savage now in this end game as well, 17 points. So he needs 2 back-to-back perfect games to get to that top.
Yeah, and it's somebody who's very good at executing in the mid and the late game. We've seen time and time again 100 Thieves, Mr. Savage, and we also haven't seen as much as we did before. The peppers in play. When you eat those peppers, you get a huge move speed boost, and it lasts for a minute. So when you get in these late game circles, it gives you a lot more options and a little bit more versatility when you're in these fights. And right now, Savage doesn't have one activated, but using that crash test dummy, hoping to avoid an explosion right here and potentially be the one to cause a little bit of demolition derby. Gonna drop in the box, finds the first shot, finds the second, can't quite convert. Right now 5 HP and he gets taken down. Mr. Savage 17 points, going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to contesting for the top spot. Both him and Benji, two of the fan favorites, effectively eliminated from that Axe of Champions competition. But want to know who's not? E11 Tayson up on the high ground right now, just raining shots down in that full built metal base, and then using the ramps around the side to cut off any angles on players who might punish him. And a great hip fire shot onto Smudge, then converting afterward, then right away popping the crash pads and trying to head over towards that player to potentially scoop up whatever he can get as we close in on top 40. That's placement points going over in the next rotation, moving out.
And what a stark contrast where we saw him on the low ground, had high ground all of a sudden, and now fragging out is getting elimination after elimination on 3 now, looking to pick up number for that player. No shields remaining, no builds remaining as well. That's going to be Young Bob going down. Tayson now looking for elimination number 5, not going to be able to get it. He's got a good amount of mats as well. 2 crash pads remaining in the inventory, so he can make it into zone number 7 and 8 as it pulls away from him. He's going to look for any eliminations that he can, but he decides, you know what, I'm going to get ahead of zones, then look back, because that is the best way to find these eliminations, as players are not paying attention to the head of zone.
And you can see top 25 taking over. Hen does go down there as well. There's a player who's contending towards the top. But Tayson, the winner of Heat 2, trying to push forward and cement his spot. He is now tied Rifla, who is the leader coming into this. This is his opportunity to take over the front spot. And notice what he's doing so well is he's tarping out and he's using the full builds and he's staying towards the front part of the zone. And then he doubles back right here looking for picks. This is something when you have execution, you have space, no one else is on your level, you turn eliminations in by doing this because he knows he's safe and he can continue moving on a horizontal level while also harassing his opponents. Top 20 ticks over now. Tayson going to continue contributing there. 43 points for the E11 player.
And he goes into zone to crash play because he wanted to be safe doing it, did not want to risk it. He's got the flopper. So that damage he took is effectively null. He's back up to 200 effective HP, but 18 players remaining. He's going to have to make a play, and he's already looking for high ground. He's second high right now, but the drop down going to ensue. Squeeze going to fall there to Milan. The shot's going through. Tayson getting challenged, but he's going to get an elimination there. Again, now on 6th elimination. Bayon going to go down. Flopper Michael going to fall as well.
And you can see Mongrel up on the high ground, Snazy on the low ground, everyone else in between. Scram still up in this lobby. Nate, Milan, Cartoon up as well. Frenzy Fishy dipping back into the storm. That's the flopper play. Going for a late high ground take right now, and he's trying to push forward. Frenzy Fishy up on the high ground, but now dropping back in. This is the box-to-box fight. He's able to pick it up. That is a huge elimination reason right over the side, but it's all Tayson all the time. 9 eliminations, pushing forward for top 5, and he's saying right now, I can cement this #1 spot. I can take away the game. I can make you chase me in game number 6 as he closes in for top 3, and he's still hunting. He has that mythic charge shotgun. He says, I'm not just a shockwave player. 11 eliminations. 2 of the players go down, and it's Reason, arguably the strongest solo player, wire to wire, against what is the strongest solo player on the day right now in E11's Tayson. Tayson up on the high ground, Reason on the low ground, and that little bit of Old Man Mountain, he doesn't have to be too large, but it's going to burn Reason through the last of his resources. He's standing out there spraying, no builds left, and Tayson converts, and he does so in a monstrous way. 12 eliminations, add the 14 points for the victory royale. That's 26 points in match number 5. What?
What an insane performance from Tayson. The lead has been blown out of the water, and now it's just going to be about who can play matchup. Can Rifla do it? Can Deceptos do it? Or will Tayson take game number 6 as well?
My goodness. Tayson, while we're all sitting here running this marathon, this short baby sprint, he's sitting there letting everyone just take off, get that lead. He's like, oh my gosh, no way, everyone's here. They're all running ahead of me. Saves enough in the tank to get the victory royale and the biggest comeback he needed. Ball, what is going on?
It was clinical, man. It was absolutely clinical. It felt like every shot was connecting, and he was making all these quick decisions. There wasn't a time in there where he paused, where he took a second to breathe. He didn't stop at all. Foot on the gas, and he takes it all the way up to the top. What a performance from Tayson.
I feel like there was one person on his keyboard and a separate person on his mouse because he was playing movement and aim perfectly, Tayson. And that's why I'm going to say he's 100% first place right now, holding stuff off from everyone else. The question is completely right, though. Who can catch up to him? Because he's a pack leader by so many points. Oh, my goodness.
And there was definitely some instances where this opportunity arose. We always think of EU, the winners, ending up coming out in the last two games. But something else also interesting is that Tayson won Heat 2. And if you think back to FNCS duos and FNCS squads, both of the winners of Heat 2 in squads, it was Red Rush, Drobbin, Snappy, and Wakey. In duos, it was Andalex and Nate who ended up taking that extra champions. Now, all of a sudden, it looks like it might happen again.
It's his destiny. It's Tayson's destiny to win this entire tournament, this entire region, and it's been decreed. The question is, can anyone flip the story, flip the switch? Rifle, Deciptos, Hen, Reason, it's their last game to have a stand, have a say in it. XP's Thomas, I mean, if Tayson can do it, if he can be at this spot, 20th place, 30th place, and shoot all the way up, any of these guys could too.
And they all have the capability. Again, we talk about this quality factor. These guys have made it here. They have fought through the gauntlet. They have what it takes to cement that win. They just have to make it happen. One game left. We thought it's all, Rifle is at the top. And there's no way. And suddenly Tayson said, no, everyone stand aside. My time is right here, right now. And that's what these guys need to do.
And don't forget, in the Invitational, it was Janice, Tayson's duo partner, but all of a sudden it seems like the skills have transferred because Tayson has not stopped this weekend. He stands above and beyond the rest of 16 points. But if you looked at that top leaderboard, there was a big question, right? Because we were saying, oh, it's Deciptos, oh, it's Rifla, oh, these guys, Latwick has an opportunity. But I talked about conversion last time you guys saw me, and all of a sudden those guys fell. They dropped like flies. Absolutely every single one of them ended up dropping and gave Tayson and so many others the opportunity. But it feels like Tayson took and strangled all the opportunity from everybody else.
That is how it goes sometimes, man. We keep talking about it. Those guys at the top, they have to hold on. If they can't, this will happen.
Yeah, I'm going to give you my natural reactions to what I thought this game would look like. Wow, Anas, I'm so hyped and ready for you to be playing this out to get all the way back up to first. And here we go. He gets taken out. Past that, it's fine. We have more predictions in the top 5, right? Letwick, he's there to hang. He's at authority. He has the power and control. He's waiting for shots and making sure everything's looking good for himself. But he gets beamed out too.
It's Carrot, who lurks in the authority again since the Invitational, and he stops Letwick's reign up there, but Rifle had nothing in the tank there against Scram. There was a big shift in player behavior in this game and how they were playing so aggressive. The only guy out of that top 5 who made it towards the end was Deciptos, but a huge shot from Waka out of a peak box to make it count.
And if these jumbo jets of players are not there to rule the skies towards this endgame, it's Tayson that takes that flight plan, takes Sword all the way and takes flight actually into this game and holds down things. Starting off a little bit slow, gets 1 or 2 elims from mid to end game, but then you saw what happened when the zone started to close down. You saw how proficient he was with every decision that he made.
And when you talk about proficiency, how he didn't stop at all in this game is because of this new season, because the crash pads actually activate people in mobility to get this far in the game and then do things like this. Tayson finding the moments where players are going to drop in to old bases for where he could find elims. And then again, decisive dropping down, gets another one, and he does not stop.
Every shot he took was still from cover looking out towards the open, so it was literally perfect. There was nothing wrong with what he was doing at all.
Not at all, and even when players start to get aggressive on him, he will respond in kind. He only has a charged shotgun and a burst AR, but he makes it work even close range, and then it's just follow up. Down below, another peek box. He finds another. This is it. Look at this shot. The flick jump onto the player on height, the biggest threat, and Tayson takes him out so fast. Another quick build, and boom.
He actually lands the shot, lands the landing, and then gets hyped with another back-to-back past that. The left peak, followed by the right one as well. Reason had no idea what he was up against, and Tayson was on fire with so much hot momentum. What a performance.
If you blinked, you missed it. Because I don't know where the shockwave launcher went, but he still had Kit's charge, and that's apparently all you need if you're Tayson. I'm getting scared for everybody. 16 points, but also, if he does what we saw in Heat 2, which is back-to-back wins, all of a sudden, this might be over and done with.
I'm reading my notes here. I think I'm seeing there's a new mythic player on the map, and if he's in the end game, if he's near height, this man is winning. So watch out for Tayson in Game 6.
The tone has shifted. Can Tayson hold down that #1 spot, or will someone step up and try to dethrone him? Let's get ready to get into the last game here in EU. Sundown, Clay, take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, and it all comes down to this. After 40 possible matches in each weekend, 80 possible during the course of the qualifiers, then the 6 in the heats, then 5 in the grand finals, we have 1 match remaining, and the tail of the tape is E11's Tayson taking out his former duo partner in Steamy Stacks for the first of 12 eliminations to secure the victory royale in a 16-point lead coming into the final match. Clay, can anybody catch him, or is it a wrap?
The only way somebody can catch him is if somebody here in Steamy decides that they want to push and get this elimination. There's somebody nearby as well. It's either Kensel or Janice. We know they land here. They have an opportunity. It's going to be Kensel there to shut him down if they want to and go on a run of themselves, but it would need to be quick and decisive. As we saw last game, Tayson took down Janice. He did not care if they were doing mates. He did not care if they were landing in the same place. He said, you know what? Nah, this game, I'm going to go on my own little spree. I'm going to write my own destiny.
And that's what it's all about. We talked about it. There's no love lost. It's the solo competition. There is 1 Axe of Champions up for grabs, and everyone is currently chasing Tayson for it. You can see Benji picking up an Elim in the feed there. So who besides E11's Tayson is currently in the running? Rifla sitting in second place at 42 points, needs 16 to close it. He is the closest. Then you have Deceptos at 41, Hen at 40, Reason at 40, Vadil at 38, Snazy at 38, and then we'll keep Letwick in the conversation as well at 37, that's 21 points back. So that's 7 eliminations plus the victory royale.
And it sounds like a lot because it is, but these players can do it. These players can make the play. We just saw Tayson do just that. But of course, it's all contingent on if Tayson goes down. If he's able to make it into that top 25, into the top 15, top 10 placement points, then your chances are very, very, very slim of toppling him.
Yeah, the longer he stays in the game, the more that delta closes. And now we're going to swing back on board here. Anas potentially looking to set up a nice little door ambush. We've seen this a number of times before. The reason players will hang out by doors is because a lot of players will either interact with doors right away or have auto interact set. What that means is when they walk up and they open the door, they're unable to take any other action because you're locked out while you're performing that animation. If a player walks in right on the other side of the door, this is Anas looking to manufacture an elimination, and Bitfox might be the one on the other side of it.
He is setting the trap, and the cheese, you got to wonder how tasty it'll be here for Bitfox as he's falling for it. He's walking right in. Anas is going to get the shot. The trap has been sprung. Bitfox down to 23 HP. Anas really needs this elimination if he wants to contest it. Bitfox trying to stay out and run away, but Anas going to pick that one up.
And that's so good. We talked about it last game. We talked about doing everything possible in your power to set it up, to be successful, to manufacture these points when you need to climb that grind and get up and catch somebody like Tayson, where every single point matters. We can see some early shots coming out here. Can he potentially find the tags, convert it into elimination? And looking on the bottom right-hand corner, nobody's really threatening even remotely close to him right now.
Indeed, and this is what you want if you want to get that first place. He says he's just going to get gifted an elimination on the handy.
And that's so huge. Every single point pushing him that much farther up. And it reminds me so much of Bugha during the Solo World Cup when he threw a couple of rifle shots there in the final game, was able to pick up an elim, and he just laughed to himself. Tayson got to be laughing to himself right now. If you're in Party Royale, hit him with that hee-haw emote. Let him hear the donkey laugh, because that's what Tayson has to say after throwing one singular AR bullet, but you saw him looking at it. You knew there was a third-party opportunity, and that's what makes the best player in Europe just the best. You've got to throw those shots over there.
And we also need to point out, yes, this is for first place as well. That is the goal everyone is playing. But everybody's going to get money for just coming here and making it here today. These are some of the best, if not the 100 best solo players in the European region. Sundown has said it. This is the most played in, most competitive region of the world, and it's not going to be easy to just even make it here. So Slender and Keswick, while they are fighting it out, and while one of them may fall here, they have done so much just to get here, to get their moment right here on the screen. As Keswick is turning to fight in his favor, the pistol being used, it's breaking through the build, and Slender unfortunately gonna fall there.
Slender being taken down, and that's just a reminder, again, this is the top 0.001% of players. This is the best of the absolute best, and they're competing against her after a grueling qualifying and heat process. Is now on board with Wolfie as the second place in the Duo World Cup, but having a tough run of it today on the opposite side of AR Bafa, who we've seen a number of times more than capable of taking these fights. So it should be a good little battle right here, but Wolfie's continuing trying to play the aggressor. We talk about his rough day, only 8 points after 5 games, and doesn't want to be sent out here, wants to have at least some form of a stamp on this game, even if it is just as a spoiler. But with 5 HP, the young lord from the UK will bow out of the competition at just a measly 8 points coming over.
And AR Bafo is someone that has kind of come into that W key role and kind of taken it over for a lot of these players. And right there, someone who was really good at pushing that left stick forward back a couple of months ago. Right now, falling just a little short again. He was coming off an injury, so not in his full form there, but still, what a performance by Wolfies to just make it here today and put those 8 points up. Rezon, however, one of those players that could contend for the top. Again, you would need Tayson to go down before placements points started being divvied out. If he goes down in top 76, that is good for Rifle, good for Rezon, but the likelihood of that happening are very, very slim.
Especially because we saw Tayson early on grab whatever loot and mats he can and then just sprint towards the center zone. That first round of placements will be falling over in with just 4 more players going down, so a little bit quicker of a pace here. As you can tell, everyone trying to push it a little bit, get a couple of eliminations, get a couple placement points, try and move your way past that next player, maybe get a pay upgrade. And if you're hanging out for the first time watching us in Party Royale and you're not necessarily used to competitive Fortnite, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You might be wondering, hey, how do I get involved with this? How do I play in these matches? How did these players get here? Well, the first step is to go in and play in the arena. That is where you'll be able to earn hype, which is where you're gauged and then placed into different levels of play. You can end up getting into contender, and then you're up into champion, which will allow you access to different tournaments depending on where you're ended up placing. All of these players have grinded to the highest level, which is that champion level, which then grants access to certain cash cups as well as the FNCS. Then you can compete in those open tournaments to try and make the final rounds, which guarantee qualifications into the heats. And then after these heats, which were played on Friday and Saturday, you get the grand final. So again, when we talk about that 0.001%, these players have done it all, and they're very much so at the top of the game. 74 left, so 1 point going down to everyone, and that includes Tayson.
It also includes Rifla as well as Reese on there. Thomas HD picking it up. Janice nearby as well. Thomas has got to be very careful here. If he is being a little bit too greedy, farming up a little bit too much too soon, he could start to go down as Janice is going to look to take him down. The builds are just not building there for him as he does take a lot of damage. 62 HP. He does have the RPG in his inventory, so he could turn that around if he gets the opportunity to, but he's got to be careful. Janice being aggressive. RPG out. It's going to hit the tree, but it doesn't do any damage. 27 HP. He's trying to side jump, but the ramp going to cut him off there as Janice continuing to pressure up. Thomas HD is getting W-keyed, and Janice is going to be the one to take him out.
Thomas's attempt at a run will go down there. He was 12th trying to enter in here. We talked about it. We'd hyped him up. We'd shown just how good and accurate he could be, but ran into Janice there, the FNCS Invitational Champion, and a tough 1v1 again.
リーダーネタ。
Outside chance looking in, but now there is no chance as his FNCS is over. He's just hoping he can hold on to whatever spot in the top 20 as he's going to drop down from where he is right now after only picking up a singular point there. But now back on board with Flois, who has that hunting rifle out. He's looking to catch a cheeky headshot here right around the corner.
Oh, he's setting it up. He's getting so close. He's waiting for the opportunity to get it, taking his time, and he does hit it, but it's a body shot, not a headshot. Unfortunately, that will give him the pressure, though, that he needs to do. He's got the crash pad, set it up into the box. He goes with that player new, and the diagonal box out gonna come through, and Flois not able to capitalize on that elimination. He was so sneaky when it mattered the most, but unfortunately, only the body shot coming through from him, but he gets tagged up by a third party, and now the player he headshot, or the body shot rather, is gonna push him. It's going to be Kylix going aggressive, and Kylix needs elimination as well. Move into the upper echelon of prizing, and Flois is just looking to try to make a run here. Flois 23 HP, ticking down. Crashback comes through, and Kylix is gonna come out on top.
Tries to enter the bounce house, but unfortunately a little too much for that one. Got a little rowdy. They're going to kick you out. And it was Kylix who was the bouncer, pulling him out, ending his FNCS run. No attempt for heroics here from Flois, but peeking back on over. Again, Tayson, match number 5 winner, 26 points in that game overall. Currently had a 16-point game there. You can see Tayson now holds the largest lead between first and second all weekend so far, so it's just an act of holding on. And even then, if he goes down here, it's going to take a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10 to not only convert on a victory royale, but pick up a number of eliminations to even come close to matching that 12 elim victory royale we just saw. And currently sitting on 60 points, it looks like this might be a victory lap for him.
It looks that way indeed, but he's set up in a very awkward spot. He's got a player held out of zone. He's also got 2 players on the mountain behind him as Janice picking up another elimination there onto Sapphic. Tayson, though, is the story of the day. Can he hold the lead? The largest lead we've seen in between first and second, and he's looking to make it even larger here with this elimination, but someone else being a nuisance and shooting some shots over towards Kylix. Tayson not peeking, is waiting for the right time to make his move and to make that striking distance and close it. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to be able to stay alive or get that elimination. There's Stacey now sitting in this box looking for the same amount of eliminations as he's going for shots all around players. He needs a miracle run. He needs, I believe, 21 total points, and so he could do it. We saw Tayson do it, but it would need to be an impressive game.
But again, don't forget, we've talked about it time and time again. It's not just the number 1 spot. Yes, the Axe of Champions and all that clout is great, but because Tayson is occupying so many of those points, everyone else who's in 2nd to 10th right now, each one of their interactions against each other is going to matter in terms of the placement, in terms of the money you end up walking away with. And also, man, 2nd sounds so much better than 8th or 7th or 6th, right? Like that battle for 2nd place and who can capitalize on this opportunity is still a huge moment. Going back and looking at the Solo World Cup, TSM's crew was able to go from 66 to 6 with a singular 7-game victory royale in the final moment. Will we see some similar heroics for somebody to charge up the leaderboard and push themselves in the top 5 while Tayson is just doing his best to avoid all conflict because he knows the longer he holds on, the more likely he is to raise that axe at the end.
And just a reminder, every place past 6th place is an increase of $10,000. So if you are Slicks, if you are Rifla, if you are Deceptos, that's what you're looking for. Kylix is trying to get up in there as well, up until that gap in between first and second where it's about a $25,000 increase. There's still a lot of money on the line looking for these players to grab, and I'm very concerned right now. Kylix, with this hunting rifle, is shooting shots over to Tayson. This is not looking good. If Tayson does not get out of the situation, Kylix should get the snipe onto him, and the pressure is coming through. But will Kylix hit it? Will he hit the shot that will end Tayson's run? His shots are coming through. 129 effective HP in a very bad spot. Everybody knows he just got tagged up as well. Will he be W-keyed by Kylix here? The pressure come through, and Kylix is going in. The crash pad's going to be used, but Kylix is very low HP, 66 HP there. Tayson may be too aggressive here. He's got the hunting rifle. He could go for a little snipe there. If he does, it would need to be perfect. He's going to look for it. He's going to look for it. He takes him down. Tayson is down at 60 points.
Tayson smelt blood in the water with Kylix pinned against the outside of the zone, but Kylix says, let's open up the floodgates. Let's give the opportunity for somebody to have that heroic moment. Number 1 is down. I repeat, number 1 is down. E11's Tayson has been taken out at 60 points. That's the line we're looking at. Can anybody possibly catch him? Who's in the conversation? It's going to take the victory royale and much, much more. But all of a sudden, this game has so much more tension on it as the victory lap has been canceled early. He pulled up, and now can anybody else close that gap? Enos doing his best right there, picking up an elimination, but he has a long rotation to go before he gets into the zone.
And Cardin and Kazakhs are not going to let him get there easy. They're not going to let an easy rotate come out. So he does have crash pads and launch pads there. What's concerning for Enos is the amount of AR in his inventory. Now, if he knows that Tayson just went down, if their feed showed it, and he doesn't have that anonymous mode on, Enos is going to be very, very, very hungry for placement. He's just going to look to try to set up in a good spot, but right on the edge of zone, there's going to be players looking for you. And you see the quick edit. That's there. Gonna protect him for a little bit, but he's running out of hard mats, and you see the wood being built there. He's got to be careful. Carton setting up nearby as well. Question is Rifla still in a good spot to contend as well? There's so many players that are on the cusp of taking this game away from Tayson. It is going to be so, so close.
But don't forget, the line is 60 points. So while they're close, they need a lot. Tayson had a monumental performance in last game, and Enos is trying to double it up right now. We talk about it. It's going to take all the skill, a little bit of luck, and a bunch of execution. And right there, some good shots coming through, but not going to be able to find the loot afterwards. So who are we looking at who can potentially close it if they win the game? Rifle is in the conversation. Deceptos, Hen, Reason, Vadil, Snazy, Letwick, Frenzy Fishy, and Enos. Any of those players, if they're still up, gaining eliminations and gaining points, are slowly going to be shrinking that gap. So keep an eye on the yellow numbers to the left of their name in their HP pool, as well as the top left for any of those guys going down or picking up points. Circle 4 is revealed, and pretty much everyone has already established themselves. So we're going to wait, and we're going to roll the dice and see where circle number 5, that half-in, half-out zone that triggers the initial use of utility, where does it pull? And which one of these key players can capitalize on the position and the opportunity they're given. This is the final game. There is 4 storm zones left after this. 52 players up. Number 1 is down. Can anybody catch him, or will Tayson's lead be enough to just barely edge him over the top? There's the zone on the far west side, Clay.
And Rifle has no mobility. He's got to make a play. Reminder, AR Baffo is right nearby Rifle. If he gets too aggressive and shoots a little bit too early, Baffo will strike. We've seen him hop out of cones into players' boxes to look for it. That is not good for Rifle. He needs to rotate soon. He's got to go up. Exactly. He's got to follow that path that was just built for him. Because if he doesn't, he's going to get capitalized. But there's Baffo's moving. Baffo's moving behind. Shots come through. Down to 131 HP. Rifle needs to get out of this one. Sniper is out. Baffo is rotating there as well. He realizes that crash pad going to be used. Chug Splash, rather. He doesn't have any crash pads in his inventory. He's got to be careful he doesn't overpeak this. If a shot comes through that tags the shield, he's got nothing left there. 170 is going to find a launch pad. Is it enough? Is he getting a shot of the air? 114 shields are broken. Everybody knows. Taz go through and Rifle's down. Number 2 is out of the game.
Twain's picking that one up, saying, no run for you, sir. You must be this tall to ride the ride, and you will go down. Frenzy Fishy picking up one, so he's going to start moving his way up the leaderboard. We're inside the top 50, so that's another placement point down. Everyone who's contending for Tayson getting those points, he did not. He went down outside of that threshold. Again, the line is 60. Can anybody cross it towards the end? It's up for grabs. If somebody in the top 10 can seize the moment and be the one to lift it up and deny the E11 player, the Slovenian Lord, that Axe of Champions. And right now, Air Bafo trying to find some space. The 5th zone is closing, which means we have the late game, the full moving coming right after that, and we're over sweaty sand, so tons of natural building in play, excess materials that can come out, but also weird rotational paths as Bafo pushes in, continuing with the aggressive playstyle and takes out Floppa Michael.
60 points is what everybody needs to be thinking about right now. That is the number that you need to break. You also need to pick up a victory royale if you're just going for 60. The 61 points is where you really need to be shooting. That is a very tall order to ask.
I mean, 61 realistically, too, because even with the Victory Royale, Tayson has the highest eliminations out of anybody in this tournament right now, so he owns that tiebreaker solidly. Now we're going to hop on board here with Deceptos, who's currently below Storm Surge, and we're actually going to need 14 players to drop, so that could end up coming into play with how fast this zone closes. If everybody prioritizes rotation, and with nobody wanting to drop, you could see that happen, but right now, Deceptos trying to find a pick. This is the final game of the EU FNCS, the final circles, 3 left. Number 1 player is down, and who can catch him? 61 points is what it will take to lift that axe and be the one who walks away with $80,000 in the end, and it's all about if you can catch Tayson.
Deceptos 10 looking to do it, 42, 43 points each. They're very, very close. Him now going up. He doesn't have a lot of HP. He's going to need to find something. Crash pads being used, trying to build to keep a little bit of a mid-ground chart, but not going to be able to do it. Benji making a run to just try to separate his game and try to get as many placement points and move himself up the leaderboard as he can, because he's out of contention for the Action Champions. AR Bafo there as well. Mongrel in this game. Scram going down. Hen trying to make something happen. Janus going to go down. Mongrel going to fall, as well as Orange. Hen picks up another elimination. This could be his run as well, but it's going to be very, very close.
Storm Surge will turn off there as we have the top 30. Janus picking up an elim there. But Hen, if he wants the win, he needs to put his foot on the gas, right? The placement points aren't just enough. The Victory Royale isn't enough. We saw Tayson, he had 12 elims. Every one of those elims was a point that pushed him farther up. And while being still in the game gives you opportunities, if you want to seize the moment and you want to say your best of the best, you have to go now. You have to be pushing people. You have to be converting on the points, because there's only 19 elimination points available right now. You have to start finding them. Top 20, so the placement points are ticking down right now. And Hen, completely out of builds, needs the elimination just for the refresher. He's doing his best, making this a platform game. Diving around, looping on the corner, finds the first shot, can't find the second, and he gets taken down. Top 15 taking over and looking at the names of the lobby. I think only Frenzy Fishy has a chance, and I don't think he has enough elims this game going through. Tayson is going to be your FNCS solo champion, but it's about who can get that second place right now. If they're able to push forwards here, Deceptos theoretically could eliminate every single player in the lobby and go for it, but we talked about it. You have to be pushing the pace. Instead, he's saying, okay, I understand Tayson has that W. I know he's probably going to take the first spot, but if I can stay in this lobby, I'm going to pass other players. Everyone else has gone down, and now he's dropping in 112 on the first one, but he gets walled off. 35 HP, uses the crash pad, but he goes up vertically and not into the box. Top 10, and another point ticks over. Deceptos goes down with 49. Now it's all about pride, the final Victory Royale, in beating the person next to you, getting a little bit more of a payday in the final game here.
And Bafo could get that. He's at 40 points. We saw Deceptos go down with 49. This could be a second place run for Bafo. The Strokey trying to make something happen there as well. 4 eliminations here for AR Bafo. Eliminations coming through all around for Strokey on that high ground. Looking to break his way on down. Shots coming through for Strokey down very, very low. Has to box on up. Twain's doing that. Nate dropping down. Bafo trying to just make something happen. 100 effective HP. 5 builds there for them. Shoki getting tagged up there by Twain. Shots coming through. He's trying to hit him, but he's not going to make it. No, he does. Elimination comes through. Bafo trying to make something happen as well. Dropping down to the outside. Going around the boxes. He's going to find some loot. He's going to fall there to zone. Bafo with 4 eliminations. Looking again to get number 5, number 6, and number 7 as more people are falling. And Bafo clutches up the last elimination for the Victory Royale. But I don't think he's going to get second. I think he's going to take third.
What a huge push from Bafo at the end. We talked about it, how every interaction will matter. And while E11's Tayson is the best player in Europe for this season, walking away with the AXA champions, the 80 grand, and all of the clout, Bafo takes game number 6. He'll rocket himself up the leaderboard. He'll earn a nice little payday in the clutch moments, and you can see there just how good Tayson was today. 22 eliminations, averaging a placement of 27th, but the big one, Clay, was that 12 elimination Victory Royale in game number 5.
What an insane way to secure yourself that number 1 spot. It was dicey towards the end, but I think we all knew that Tayson just had to stay alive just a little bit, and he did that, and he walks away with the victory.
We talked about it specifically. It would need a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10, but instead a heroic effort from Bafo, who was 26 before that. But where will he end up on the final leaderboards? We're going to throw it back on over to Zeke, Bala, and Shayo to close this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Sundown Clay, absolutely incredible casting on the day. You guys were so on point with these calls. I mean, it did come down to the wire. And for sure, Tayson is the FNCS champion. And now will walk away with the Axe of Champions. Now, of course, big props. But now we take a little bit of a turn here and look at everyone else. Second between fifth, because placing up there is a pretty considerable amount of money.
Yeah, and to get there, how things were, all the way till the final second, the final shot, the top 10 switched up. So, looking at what it is now, after Game 6, after this grueling process for Europe is over, it's Tayson at the top spot, 60 points, $80,000. At 10th is Anas still holding on, 7,000 for him, 41 points. But look at the names in between.
There's so much to break down on this page. First off, of course, Tayson winning, and Janice had won the last invitation. That is his former duo partner, so they've got to be feeling good after back-to-back, basically, championships from them. Tayson at 60 points, but DeCipto's held on. That final moment, it looked like he was going to go for it, but unfortunately, he fell just a little short, but enough to propel himself and hold on to that second place. And then in third, this was the man who rose up in the final game. 19 points. He was way below, Sundown said, 26th place. He went from $2,000 earned that you can see basically on this page all the way up to $45,000.
That is such a huge boost. And also, to boot, AR Bafo, DeCiptos, Twains, people in the top 10, 2 of them, second and third place. This is their first Grand Finals appearance, and what a big appearance and a performance it was. Like, man, no practice in these types of lobbies, no real experience on the big stage, and they pull that out? Unprecedented.
Yeah, absolutely, but it was a battle all the way through. Vadil, Nate, Letwick. Letwick did so well in those early moments, but unfortunately falls out of the top 10. Still, solid performance from all these guys. Qualifying for the grand finals and then getting up to this top 20 is definitely something to be proud of. And there were so many moments that we remember from these guys, from Mongrel throughout the season, from Snipe today in the grand finals, from Flois in that very first game. He owns that 21st spot. $2,500 earned from him.
Yeah, these guys had such amazing memories made in the heats. One person here today as well who had a win, Slender. I feel like he's one of my favorite players coming out of Europe that I really haven't been able to watch before. He showed us his prowess in every single stage of the tournament, especially in grand finals with that win that he had. $2,500, 24th place, and a few points to boot. Very good performance from him.
And just generally, great performances across the board. You know, we cannot stress this enough. This is the top 100 players in the region They have the bragging rights. They are allowed to say, I made it to the grand finals of the FNCS. After a grueling gauntlet, I stood at the top. Now, of course, Tayson will hold the axe of champions for now, but for everyone else here, they can truly say they are the cream of the crop.
And I think one thing that these guys are going to look forward to now is the solo season wraps for EU. Obviously, they're going to, watch the rest of this too, because we got NA East coming up next with some very interesting storylines too. But for now, they get to take a breather, relax a little bit as we head up into the next FNCS season or whatever comes after that, because I know people are excited.
Yep, and now we're looking at how things look after the heats in a top 100 stack lobby in a region that's what people say is the best to watch, the best to see. So definitely going to see the changes over in NA East, and definitely going to take a slight breather to see and catch up on those games too.
Well, Shy put it best. Guys, that's it for Europe, but don't forget we are back later to wrap up NA East and crown an FNCS champion there. Till then, Fortnite fam, we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus.